What's happening, everyone? Time for another malt review. That's Mike, and this is Narby.
What's up, guys?
And I'm Narby, I should say, not this is Narby.
This is Narby!
We're doing a Macallan 25-year-old. This is from an independent bottler called the Whisky Company. This is a Macallan 25-year-old. This is the batch 5 from the Whisky Company, and it's bottled at 48.8% ABV. There's a little sample from Master of Malt, and Master of Malt actually is the bottler for this. If you go on their website, you will see a lot of these Whisky Company bottles, and the full-size bottlings are 50 CL. And they also often put out little miniatures of everything for people to try as well. This particular bottle is sold out. What intrigued us about this one is the people from the Master of Malt did a review on the site on it, and their tasting notes sounded incredible. So that made us want to try it. And then Jim Murray did a review on it, and he gave it a 97 out of 100. So that was also another way of saying, hey, both Master of Malt and Jim Murray both gave it. So, you know, it made it very interesting. I know the bottle was selling for around $550 or so, sold out. So we got this little sample here, and it's still available, at least at the time of this recording, it's available. I'm not sure if it will be available during the time of the release of the review. But again, a 25-year-old Macallan, bottled at 48.8% ABV. That's pretty much all we really need to know. It's from an independent bottler, so it's not directly from Macallan.
That color, baby.
As expected, it's got a nice, rich color, a nice full mahogany type color here.
Full sherry mahogany, baby.
Yes, yes. And this has been breathing for about 20 minutes on the nose. And
so actually, you guys comment a lot. Our shorter cognac style glass we normally use, we actually poured it into that first, and it was just such an alcohol attack. We decided to pour it into this more traditional nosing glass that definitely keeps the alcohol at the bottom a lot better. So
it doesn't push up as much. So when you do, every glass is different for each spirit, and we do try most our spirits in all different kinds of glasses and kind of try to figure out which spirit works best in what. Overall, here's the glass here that you guys are used to seeing. Overall, we prefer most our scotches in here, unless it's going to release too much where you can't pick out the individual flavors. Then we might go to something more like this. But a lot of times we find so much more in this particular glass where we're able to get a fuller experience. But we switched up. We switched up to this one right here on the nose. And this whiskey really, really has benefited from not only switching glasses, but also from the time breathing. I'm getting like dark, rich cherries.
It might have just been time. Like I might need to switch back to glasses. But yeah, at first it was just pure alcohol attack in the other glass. But now it's much more like what we'd expect.
Dark cherries, fruit cake, dark berried fruits, strawberries and raspberries.
Now it's nuts.
Yeah, a lot of berries.
Yeah, it's so many berries, and I'm getting actually my first main notes after the alcohol went away, and it's still consistent, is actually, if you've seen our very first review for Dalmore 50 and our Dalmore 25 review, there's a lot of strong Dalmore elements. So like very strong mandarin oranges, very strong glazed almonds, the very strong Dalmore with the combination of the Methuselah sherry and the poured pipe finish. A lot of strong Dalmore elements, but now with the time elapsing, I'm getting tons of syrupy raspberries, like stewed raspberries and blackberries, and even some tartar cranberries, dark cherry. So very much on the darker tartar fruit side. but all kinds of crazy, crazy fruit elements now. It's really coming around.
I'm getting like a sweet custard, like egg, the yellow part of the egg, and cream and sugar type of custard. Some very sweet mandarins and almost kind of blood orange.
Wow, it's totally open.
Yeah.
Finally, took a bit.
A little Grand Marnier.
Wow. That was freaky. Now it's a sherry monster.
It's very fruity. It's very fruity, and it's got that, so all the fruits that we talked about, and then it adds that citrus element with the mandarin and blood orange. And then it's also very custardy, very sweet and custardy.
It is, yeah. There's like a lot of like vanilla, that thick vanilla cream custard going on for sure with the fruits.
That's kind of where it leaves. In the background, there is a slight alcoholic hint, but at first it was off-putting, but it's evaporated, and it's kind of very much in the background now, and it's not offensive anymore.
Yeah, now it keeps changing a little. Now it's leading more toward like very soft, kind of scented oak or sweet oak, like sandalwood, and a tiny bit of fresh leather, but mostly sweet oak, sandalwood, you know, kind of like a scented candles like sandalwood, and then just tons of fruits, tons of those fruit elements.
Really unique. Definitely different. Definitely different. I would
Sure.
not...
Yeah.
It's very different.
Yeah.
It's not so much of the dates and figs and rum raisins.
Right.
It's not towards that side where the Macallan 18 and the Macallan 25 tend to go.
Right.
It's not so much of the toffee and caramel and dates and kind of what you normally expect. Unique. It's kind of fresh too.
Totally unique.
Not very oaky. I'm not getting a ton of leather or anything like that. Palate?
It's like, it's so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like so sweet and floral.
Let's try it on the palate.
Let's do it.
Love the mouthfeel. Love the drying elements.
Oh yeah.
It's one of those whiskeys, and
Holy moly. So
certain
unique.
certain whiskeys do this where it comes to the palate and it's dry, and with every second that it sits on the palate for a good like 45 seconds, each second it gets less dry, and it releases certain elements. So that's what it's doing. It goes in dry, and then it releases. Each second, you're starting to pick up on a lot of those fruits, and they keep releasing and releasing. But I'm also getting a little cocoa, a little chocolate on the palate that I wasn't. And some of it's not spicy at all, but it kind of, that sandalwood that Mike was saying, that sandalwood's coming along. So it's fruity along with that sandalwood. It's floral, and it's drying in the right way. It's not overly drying. It's really, really unique.
Yeah, totally. It's an experience. At first, it was like biting into 1,000 raspberries at the same time. That same fruit. And then, like Narby said, immediately that drying effect. All the liquid just rushed out. Pure drying. And then on the back of your palate was like when you take unsweetened cocoa powder, to where you have those cocoa notes, but because it's unsweetened and it's powder, it's very dry in the back of your palate, but it's a very cool effect. And then some of the juices start flowing back, and then all the flavors start rushing through.
This is not like any other.
Very, very
not
different.
like any other Macallan I've ever had.
Super unique Macallan.
I know. In Jim Murray's review, he goes, "This takes me back to the Macallan from 30 years ago." We're lucky enough to have tried a lot of old Macallans from a long time ago, but I've never had it like this.
No way.
Yeah, I've never had it like this.
I would not know it's Macallan. If I didn't
would not know it's a Macallan either. And
it's totally different.
And that's one whiskey that's kind of easy for me to do in a blind test kind of challenge that I've done a few times. I've known that it's a Macallan, where sometimes I don't know what it is, but with Macallans I usually do, and this I would have no clue that it is. So definitely differ there from where Jim Murray mentioned that it took him back 30 years ago from the first Macallan from back then, but I'm not getting that.
Yeah, now this is interesting. So after what I told you before,
I put 3 drops of water in each glass, by the way.
There you go.
Yeah.
Before, it was going more toward both nose and palate, more toward some fresh leather, like some fresh horse saddle, at a saddle shop, some fresh leather, and then some of that kind of sweetened oak, like, you know, oak but not strong, more like a sandalwood or a scented candle oak. But now I'm getting just a little bitty elements of some very nice old moldy sherry oak that we always look for in older, like 50s and 60s Macallans that we tried.
I'm getting some slight, with the addition of water, it gets almost a little more mineral. A little more mineral. Some citrus fruits coming up, more citrus fruits. But that custard is there. The dark cherries, the mandarin, the blood orange, that Grand Marnier, almost orange oil.
Crazy unique.
Different.
Different, way different. Good.
One more sip on the palate.
Wow. Super different. Love the palate effects.
Yeah. Much more
special effects on the palate.
Even more drying with the water, but in a good way.
Yeah.
I love the drying effects on how it's playing along. It's drying, and the mouthfeel is very unique, but it's not a heavy whiskey on the palate. It's kind of almost thin. And again, kind of strange that Mike brought up Dalmore. A lot of the Dalmores tend to be kind of thin on the palate too. I would almost guess this was a Dalmore. It's weird.
That's my point. That's the first thing I got of it.
Yeah. It's unique. Definitely those orange elements are there. I'm not getting a lot of those nutty flavors, but that unique fruit, the drying elements, and it all just kind of plays along. It's a surprise, and I don't know if you guys could see from the review that there's like confusion in this whiskey a little bit, and that's the independent bottler. I doubt an OB release of Macallan, like from the standard range, you're not gonna get anything like this. So that's what's so cool about independent bottlers, is you kind of can sometimes get a little bit different experience. So that's pretty cool. Never had a Macallan like this. Really unique. The finish is not super long in terms of the fruit elements and the sweet custard elements, and that bitter cocoa. It leaves you more with actually more of the drying elements, a little bit of leather, and those fruits kind of tend to fade away. So I'd call it kind of a medium-ish finish. Overall, a really, really good whiskey. A different experience, so that always adds a little bit something to it. I'm trying to score this whiskey, and
it's confusing.
It's confusing. I want more and experience more, so I don't know how to score it. I'm going between like a 91 and a 92. I don't really know which direction to go. I want to give it a 92, and if while I was drinking it, I had it at 92, but I don't know. So because I don't know for sure, it's around that 91 to 92 range. I'm gonna stick with 91, but it's very possible that this would be a 92 if I could experience it a little bit more. So I'm just gonna stick with 91 out of 100.
That's funny. That's exactly what I give it, because
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, like it's got little elements that might move toward a 92 or above, but because of that confusion and it's kind of trying to decide what it wants to be, it's definitely a solid 91.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the and confusion is also not confusion's maybe not the whiskey's fault. It's probably our fault. We had a half ounce each. And often when we get these samples, we kind of really tell what it is. With this whiskey, we need more. We need more to fully examine it. And I would probably need to try 2 to 3 times to kind of truly kind of find out what the whiskey is. So in that way, it's pretty cool too that you have to spend some time with the whiskey. It doesn't let you know right away, but it definitely is one of those drams where it surprises you a little bit. So not sure if we did the whiskey any justice, to be honest with you, but we just kind of told you guys exactly what we were experiencing, and it seems like we were both experiencing the same thing. So there you go. All right, you guys, we'll see you guys soon for another whiskey review, and we actually have another Macallan by the boutique company, a 30-year-old coming soon too as well. So we'll see you guys soon. Cheers.